So I've been wanting to do this for a while. I found this meme on Pinterest months ago, and I've been wanting to try it. One night I thought, hey, I'll just pick a few songs and see what I get, and do kind of a practice run before I share any of my attempts with anybody. But then what I got ended up being too good. The random shuffle that my playlist played was Better Man by Taylor Swift, Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran, and I'm Yours by Alessia Cara. That was too much of a good opportunity to pass up. So I quickly did this kind of thumbnail sketch of both of the characters because I was instantly starting to get ideas of what these characters would be like. And I got really excited about the possibilities. And I tried to do my preliminary sketches, my discovery sketches in my sketchbook, which apparently I lost the footage for this first one here. But I decided to start with the girl first. I still haven't come up with a name for her yet, but I imagined her as being very tight. This song, Better Man, is about, it's Taylor Swift talking about a man that really hurt her and broke her heart. So I kind of pictured this girl as being, very standoffish, very afraid of getting hurt, and probably putting a little too much of my own personality in here. I pictured her as being very bookish, and maybe she retreats into her books, a little too much. These sketches, they were going in the right direction of what I wanted, but I wasn't really happy with any of them. They all looked very, they didn't have any pizzazz. I wasn't hitting on a style that I really liked for these drawings. And I wanted these two characters to be very stylized. I was kind of going for a comic book or graphic novel kind of design here, but I didn't really feel like I got that just playing around in my sketchbook here. So there were a few sketches I liked, and like I said, it helped me get in the right direction, but I went back to digital on my iPad and playing around with that. So I kind of just jotted down some of the keywords so that I could have them in mind. I really want to try and be better about doing things like this whenever I am designing and conceptualizing characters, because that way it's fresh in your mind and you have kind of a plan going forward. So I was starting to get more of an idea. I was heading more in the right direction here, I think. The sweater and with her hair shape, I was liking it. But it wasn't until I drew this picture with her eyes that I really thought I was really hitting on something. So probably my favorite part of drawing a character is their eyes, but it's hard to find a way to draw them and make them unique, to make them in your own style. But I'd actually drawn another picture unrelated to this where I made the character's eyelashes kind of curved and then with a little tiny cat eye at the very end, and that I was like, that is really cool. That looks very unique. I can't think of any other character, any other style that I've seen like this, and I thought that would be really cool to experiment with and to just see what happens. Then I moved on to a full body drawing of this character and purposefully did those eyes. And this is also where I really hit on her lip shape too, where it's much more of a full upper lip and very stylized. I do think I kind of messed up here with the raglan sleeves on her shirt because it kind of made her chest look a lot bigger than I had intended. It looked weird proportionately, and later on I changed her sleeves to where they don't angle up at the shoulders like that. So yeah, once I cleaned up the lines here, I knew that this was more what I was wanting, more of the style I was wanting. But still, I wasn't 100% sold. Like, her hair, I don't know, something about the way her bangs were hanging, it was just not really doing it for me. But I decided to just go ahead and finish this drawing here and play around with it a bit later. So this character, I kind of pictured her as looking very academic, but not that she's a student herself. I actually kind of pictured her as working in a bookstore or a library. And, you know, she would kind of dress in librarian chic. Also, as I went through, I started to play around with this idea of her being very inspired by 60s fashion, by the preppy looks that were popular. So then once I finished that line work, I cleaned up the lines and I played around with several different color combinations and even gave her a new outfit, as you see here. And the dress outfit, it really looked too like I was pushing that 60s look way too much, like she was wearing a costume or something, and that is not what I wanted at all. I really wanted her to be a girl in the modern world, but, you know, with kind of a bookish aesthetic. So after I did all these color experiments, I ended up changing her hairstyle one last time. I added a pencil to her bun, which was one of the elements from my earliest sketches that I really liked. I picked this color palette. I thought it worked really well with her hair and her skin tones. I decided to go with a very cool color palette, maybe a little bit symbolic of being like closed off and maybe not wanting to venture into falling in love again anytime soon. So, you know, you think about these things when you're designing characters, which is something that I really enjoy. So I decided to take this design here and to use the thumbnail sketch I did before and see if I could make it look consistent in that. So I didn't film that part, but I did do the line work, and as you'll see right here where it's cleaned up and I am coloring it in. I realize her ears do kind of look a little weird now that I'm watching this back. She kind of almost looks like she has Spock ears, but it's too late to fix that now. So also with the red hair, I've been reading Nancy Drew a lot lately. If you've been following me on Instagram and have read my blog post that I put a few months ago, I've been reading Nancy Drew, and she gave me some very serious Nancy Drew vibes, which I'm not mad at all. It's also a thing that I've been doing with my comics, with my Author Life comics, which are available on Webtoons and on my Instagram if you have never seen them. Instead of using a black for the pupils, I used a darker color of the person's actual eye color. And I like that look a lot. And I decided to experiment with it more here. This is also a chance to really play around with colors, and if you've watched my previous video when I drew a cozy looking book nook, I used a mid-tone color for the line work, and I decided to experiment with that here where I used a brown it's not really the darkest brown, to see how that would look, if it would soften it at all, and I decided to make that the darkest color in the whole picture. And this is also a really cool hack if you do any kind of digital artwork. If you choose, usually I like to choose a purple color, and you set the layer to multiply, you can get some really natural looking shadows that aren't too harsh, and they just kind of turn the colors on your picture the natural color that those colors would turn in shadow, which can be very hard to make look correct. Shadows tend to, if you're not careful, they can start to look really muddy and you can lose a lot of the contrast. So here's the final character design, and I had to be extra and add the color palette so I can reference it again. So if you'd like to see more in this, if you'd like to see me design the guy and to make an illustration that kind of shows off their relationship, then like and subscribe, comment down below what ideas you have for me with the guys. If you can think of what I should be naming these characters, also put that down in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video. Special thanks to my patrons, and thanks for watching.